We're good? Good? Okay. Welcome to class, everybody. Today is Disney Day, so I hope you all wore your favorite Disney sweater like I did. So, anyways, hope you all had a good weekend. As you know, we've been working on our personal narratives, in which you're telling a story about something exciting that happened in your life. So today I'm going to teach you a couple concepts about grammar that will help you write more exciting personal narratives. So I know you're all way excited about that. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to pass out this worksheet to everybody. Here you go, student. You're welcome. So, and I have a copy of the worksheet too, so we're going to work through this together, okay? I want you to look at these example sentences that I've given you. There's 4 of them. And I want you to see if you can find anything that those sentences have in common. So just take a few minutes to look at those on your own and see what you find. Yeah, Chad?
So they're kind of broken up with commas.
Good. Perfect. What else do you notice?
Part of the sentences have like verbs, so like she sat quietly on the train watching a child make faces and stared out the window and yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, class, so Shad has brought up an interesting idea. He said that there are a lot of verbs in the sentence, and that's where I've tricked you all, is that those words, like he pointed out, like watching, wishing.
Oh, adverbs maybe.
Close.
Oh.
They're called participles.
Aha.
Yay, and that's what we're learning about today. We're learning about participles. So watching, wishing, those are participles. Stared, like he said, that's an actual verb, so he was right about that one. But in the last 2 sentences, do you know anything, or do you notice anything? So pounding, for instance, kind of looks like those other 2 words. But what makes it different in that sentence?
That it doesn't start with the,
Good.
It doesn't say pounding heart,
Yep.
but heart pounding.
That's exactly it. It says heart pounding. So there's a noun that comes before the participle, okay? So we've already established that the first 2 sentences are participles. And all together, you know, the little group of words that goes with the participle, it's called a participial phrase. Kind of fun to say. And the second 2 sentences, the participle that comes with the word before it, those are called absolute phrases. So first 2 participles, second 2 absolute phrases. So in those lines, on the lines below where it says definitions, on the first one I want you to write participle. Let me write that down on the board. Participle, or in the case of the phrase, it's participial phrase. So write that down, and I'm going to give you the definition here. So the definition of a participle is a word that modifies a noun ending in ing or ed. Okay, so there's your definition. We didn't look at any participles that ended in ed today. Those are a little trickier to find, so we'll be looking at those a little bit later in the drafting process. And then an absolute. You guys all have that down? We're good? Okay, so then an absolute phrase definition, please write this down, is just a noun plus a participle. Okay. Everybody good? So, absolute phrases and participial phrases are really awesome when it comes to putting them into your writing. So things that they help do is give your sentence a sense of action, like Shad said, it seemed like a verb to him, the participle did, and that's exactly right, because it explains that something else is going on other than the main action of the sentence. It's like a simultaneous thing that's happening. And also it helps you to make your sentences more concise, less words, because you can just say, you know, watching TV, she sat there, instead of like, she was watching TV. She sat there. Does that make sense? So those are really important concepts to know, so that's why we're going over them today. Let's see, what should we do next? Okay, so we're going to practice composing these kinds of phrases, and we're going to do that through sentence imitation. So on your worksheet, you'll see the little imitation section. It says subject, comma, wishing. So I've given you the participle already. Wishing is your participle. And then blank, something in the main action. So that is the same as how sentence number 2 on your worksheet is set up. My friend, wishing she hadn't come, stared out the window. Does that make sense? So I came up with my own example following that same model, I guess. Sorry, it's kind of a mess. Okay, so mother as our subject, wishing, so wishing is the participle that we're going to use, right? Wishing she was less busy, and then the main action will be cried to my dad. Sorry, not very happy. It's just the first thing that came to my mind. So anyways, does that make sense? So I filled in the blank of the subject using the participle that makes sense within the rest of the sentence, right? And then just whatever action I want to happen, then that's what's going to happen. So all together, let's try doing this. Anybody have any great ideas for a sentence using wishing? Shad?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
Shad wishing for a basketball.
Okay. Just gonna abbreviate here.
Woke up early Christmas morning. Woke up very early.
Perfect. Do you guys see how he did that? He put in the subject, which he decided would be Shad, used the participle wishing, and woke up early. So as the main action is that Shad woke up early, but at the same time he was wishing for a basketball. So it kind of gives us this sense of simultaneity.
Did you make that up?
Huh? That word?
Yeah.
I might have. No, I'm pretty sure that's a word. I don't know. Whatever. So good job, everyone. Great ideas. Let's see. What should we do? Okay. Yes. So now we're going to move on to some sentence combining activities. Let me clear this board for you a little bit. Actually, most of this won't need to go on the board. You're going to do this in small groups on your worksheet. So how about you 3 over here, you 3 over here, you 3, and then you 3 right there, okay? I've given you a little list of words. Is it still going? Okay, good. So if you look at your worksheet, everybody, I've given you a couple of subjects, like Shad or like mother, like we were using before, Batman and Stargirl, okay? And each line, they kind of make sense. They kind of go with each other, so you can use those ones. So Batman flew across the sky, wings spreading. Those are your 3 sections of a sentence, and I want you to combine them into a sentence that includes an absolute. And then the bottom one, I want you to combine those into a sentence that includes a participial phrase. Now, the nice thing about absolutes and participial phrases is that those sections of the sentence can go pretty much anywhere. You can start the sentence with the absolute or the participial phrase. You can end it. You can put it in the middle. They're really flexible. You can put them wherever you want. So I want you guys to get creative and to combine those fragments into full sentences. And make sure you write them down on your worksheet, okay? Because you'll be turning this in at the end of class. And then I'll give it back to you later so that you have it for your reference. But anyways, so start working on that. Oh, good. I like that one.
And this one's supposed to be a participial phrase.
Yes. Can you tell why? Like what makes this one different from that one?
It's modifying a noun with ing.
Yeah. But if you look at this one with the ing word, look what comes before it.
Yeah. The noun.
Yeah. So that makes this one.
Plus a participle.
So what is that called?
Absolute.
Perfect. You got it. You got it, yeah. Good job. Okay, does everybody have enough time? We good? Okay. Shad, would you like to read us your example?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for the first one, the absolute phrase, I put wings spreading, Batman flew across the sky.
Perfect. So, class, in that example, he decided to start his sentence with the absolute. And can anyone tell me why that one is an absolute?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because the spreading is describing the noun, so it's just a noun plus a participle.
Yep, that's exactly right. He's got it. Okay, anybody else have examples they'd like to share? Yeah?
For the next one?
Sure, yeah, why not for the next one?
I just pieced them together. Star Girl screaming at the top of her lungs cheered for the opposing team.
Perfect, and that's perfectly fine as well. Did you offset the screaming at the top of her lungs, the participial phrase with punctuation?
Uh-huh.
Well, good, because you should have. I'm glad. We talked about commas a few weeks ago, so I'm glad you guys remember to do that. The participial and absolute phrases need to have that separation with the comma, so good job. Okay, awesome, guys. So now in partnerships, so those of you that I put into groups, I want you to break off into partners, just work one-on-one, okay? I want you to expand sentences. Now, this is a little bit trickier of an activity because if you look at your worksheet, I've given you just a few words. I've given you 2 participles, keeping and throwing, and then I've given you 2 absolute phrases, brain cramping and courage faltering. And in the space below, on the lines below, I want you guys to expand those words and those little phrases into full sentences, making up whatever you want to go with it. It doesn't have to follow a certain model. You can put those things wherever you want in the sentence. So if you guys, do you need an example?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you an example, just real quick. But I'm not going to use those. So, smiling. So, participle smiling. I can just write whatever I want about that. Smiling. Whitney popped the glass. Yeah? So it's just up to your own creativity to make up whatever sentence you want. So in your partnerships, go for it, and then we'll share with the class one. Oh no, just kidding. When you've come up with a few good examples, I want you to send up one of your partners to the board to write it so the class can see, okay? Have at it. Okay. How's it coming, you guys? See close?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So send up somebody from your little partnership to write an example on the board for us.
Okay. Keeping her eyes closed. She swung across the snake bill.
Wow, very good, Shad. That's a great sentence. That's awesome. Very creative topic. Would have never have thought of that ever. Keeping her eyes closed, so we use the participle here, and finishes the sentence with the subject and swung across. That's his verb or phrasal verb, whatever. Very good. And also other great examples from other class members as well. So good job, you guys. So now I want you to pull out your drafts of your personal narratives that you have with you today. And I want you to read through your draft and look for places that you think you could use a participial phrase or an absolute phrase to kind of enhance the action, to make it more exciting, to make your sentences a little bit more compact, a little bit more rich, you know. So kind of glance through that today, and on the back of your worksheet, just start listing things you feel like you could change, places you could add these